Richard, you called this one, didn't you?
Well, I called it about a year ago, I think, Fred, and also last Saturday. But in any event, the most surprising thing to me was Victor Blackwell, our own Victor Blackwell's interview with Martin Luther King Jr. III on CNN this morning, when he asked him, "You're putting your name to these marches today, demanding civil rights charges be brought. What is the foundation for the charges?" And he didn't know. And that's because there are no claims for civil rights hate crimes act or civil rights charges against George Zimmerman. None. Absolutely none.
All right, welcome back. It's being called Justice for Trayvon Day in about 100 American cities right now. Live pictures of a demonstration in that vein unfolding right now in Sanford, Florida, where the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin case began. They're in Sanford, Florida, 1 week now after the not guilty verdict in the George Zimmerman trial. We'll keep a close watch on all of the demonstrations taking place. So let's talk more about what's next after the George Zimmerman case, the verdict, and the ongoing reaction. Let's bring in our legal guys, Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor, joining us from Cleveland, and Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. Good to see both of you, gentlemen.
Hey, Fred, I survived the night here.
I see you again.
Unbelievable.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay, very good.
Well, Fred, I studied this trial. I watched every day of this trial, and let me just say, there was no depravity element that was required to get a second-degree murder. You need that in order to get a successful prosecution for a hate crimes act or a federal civil rights violation. You have to have racial animus. You have to have racial motivation for the killing. This jury emphatically said it did not exist. In fact, the only racial profiling to come out of this case, if we are to believe racial gentile, were those words spoken by Trayvon Martin in describing Zimmerman. That was a racial profile. But here, nobody, not this jury, said that Zimmerman racially profiled Trayvon Martin.
But many will argue that racial profiling is not always verbalized. That it is a mindset. You make your determination in your mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be verbalized. And that is why there are some who say, wait a minute, you know, racial profiling, whether it happened or not, why is it being disputed here?
Fred, the government investigated this case for a year. They investigated for a year. They interviewed over 40 witnesses.
Investigated it.
There is no federal case here.
Okay, go ahead, Richard first. Richard first.
The state case was a sham. Any federal prosecution here, and I have to believe the president and Attorney General well that they are placating people right now politically. There is no basis for any federal charges against Zimmerman, period.